Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel in Time with Dan Show, where we mix travel with history, with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. Today I'm in Washington, D.C. at the Botanic Gardens. This is one of the oldest botanic gardens in the United States. And when you take everything it's done with exploration, preservation, the science, the research, throw a little Henry Wallace in there, there's hybrid corn, and pretty much what happens here affects every one of us every time we eat. That's huge. Now you get Washington, Jefferson, Madison. These guys were agriculturists. They wanted this. They wanted this Botanic Gardens. They knew it was very, very important for food independence. And they knew the science of botany was a practical science that was essential to the U.S. survival, right? They wanted the U.S. to break the reliance on the European imports, break the reliance on the European foods, right? And of course, as a new burgeoning nation, to add to the global science. Now, I'm sure you guys have all heard about the Lewis and Clark expedition, right? They brought back a lot of stuff, right? And that stuff had to go somewhere. So it's going to kind of lay the groundwork a little bit for what's going to become the Columbian Institution for Promotion of Arts and Sciences, right? That's kind of like what's going to start this whole groundwork for the Botanic Gardens. Unfortunately, there's going to be some inconsistent funding. There's going to be some organizational challenges, and it's going to fall into disrepair. However, it does lay the groundwork, though, right, for this. And eventually you're going to get what's called the Wilkes Expedition. That's basically the catalyst for the garden's rebirth. All right, these guys, they're going to travel. The expedition is going to go all around the world, particularly the Pacific, and they're going to bring back a lot of stuff. And that's what this is for. All right, they're going to bring a lot of stuff. And this is going to become the symbol of national identity, education, and beautification. Is what's going to go on here. And then, of course, eventually you're going to get Henry A. Wallace with his hybrid corn. Right? He's going to pretty much produce the food, resistant, bigger food, higher food yields, all that. And he's the Secretary of Education and the VP under FDR. So together, they're going to use public policy. Right? They're going to use public policy to increase our food yields. And that's very, very important because we need to eat. This country needs to eat and eat a lot to survive. All right? Then you're going to have the beautification movement. It's going to go all over where they want some green in every single park that they can. And you're going to remember, D.C. is a swamp. It looks like a little shanty town. It doesn't look good, right? But this beautification movement is going to go right through here, and it needs a lot of beautification, this swamp, all right? And you might have heard of a guy named Frederick Agassi Bartholdi. Right? His fountain is outside. You get a whole bunch of stuff outside, and this is just a small inside section. But you're going to have a water fountain out there made by Bartholdi Fountain. And he also did the Statue of Liberty. So that's a pretty big deal. See, now originally this garden, it was used for like legislative purposes, right? It was used so that the legislators could learn about agriculture, crops, scientific discoveries. But now you can see it is much, much, much bigger. And boy, has it grown. It is so big inside, so big outside. It has grown big time, and now it's totally being used for scientific research, where the scientists and the government are working together to improve our lives, which is a very good thing, right? A very good thing. Now, when I do my Travel in Time with Dan Leadership show, I like to mix travel with leadership, history. You should definitely travel down here and check out the D.C. Botanic Gardens, the oldest in the country, right? I've given you a little teeny bit of the history and the importance on this. So now what's the leadership lesson? Well, I would say my leadership lesson would be the best leaders plant seeds whose shade they may never sit under. Yeah. And that's what these guys did and continue to do here at the D.C. Botanic Garden. Hey, everybody, thank you for spending time with me today on the Travel in Time with Dan show, when we mix travel with history, with leadership, and of course with me, Dan. We'll be back real soon to do another great episode somewhere else. Till then, you take care, and I'll see you then.